Bugha and Mero are two of the best players in North America, but now they've come together to team up as a duo. They didn't start the season together, but now it's starting to appear like they are going to be the best duo in the region. Two of the best players playing together, what could go wrong? Well, I'm gonna tell you, there's not really much that goes wrong, and these guys are incredibly good. So let's take a look at exactly how they do this and show you each phase of the game and how they're playing so consistently and so well together. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. And let's get right to it. First, let's briefly talk about their POI. They're landing at Chonkers Speedway, which is one of the most, if not the strongest POI on the map right now. Now, the only thing it lacks is the Spider-Man web slingers, but as of posting this video, those are going to be nerfed and be less commonly held and not as important. Chonkers is going to have tons of coolers, so basically unlimited splashes, as well as a few non-boxes, so a slight guarantee of getting peppers every game. The only thing that these guys have to worry about is anyone that is going to contest them. Off spawn, these guys are super clean. They are constantly looking to help one another while taking these early game fights. Basically everyone shambles, but what they're doing is making sure that they're having a higher damage output and more damage that has to be taken at once rather than just simply trying to win your ones. Off spawn is one of the few times where you can't just simply 50-50 and try and win those. You have to be smart about it, and these two are constantly looking to play together. This is a constant theme that we'll recognize every single phase of this match. But what is really important is to see what they're doing in kids off spawn during opens. The respect that they've earned and the respect that they deserve off spawn is going to likely win them chonkers all by themselves when it comes time for the big final matches. Now, we'll see how it works when they do wind up being contested here or there, but I would expect these two to get their own POI as they are one of the strongest duos all across North America. Let's take a look at this continued theme of playing together in mid-game. So, in a mid-game fight, we see them both coming at this player and this duo from two separate angles, and a lot of times when this happens, one player gets over aggressive or jumps in too quickly, or someone is too slow on the gun. But these two play this perfectly to where both collide right on the duo at the same moment. This is almost an unstoppable play, and we can see the teamwork involved here. To quickly break this down, we see Mero going ahead and claiming pieces on the backside of this fight. Bugha is on the front end looking to stop and prevent these players from having any escape path. They have to either go through the building or one of these players now. The continued pressure taking piece by piece until both players wind up getting an angle on these opponents, then jumping and taking the shots at the right time. Now this is perfectly played and what you need to do when you're trying to close a fight on a duo that's turtled up. Now this isn't the only time this happens. We see Mero putting pressure on from the side. Bugha has a different angle and he's going to absolutely delete one of these kids before he can go help his teammate. Then Mero puts a lot of pressure on. The player is forced to jump right back at Bugha, and then it's another easy duo eliminated. That's all great during opens, but what happens when these guys get into a finals lobby? How do they play it? Well, they're using one of the advantages of landing at Chonkers. That is the Lambo with the Chonkers tires. They use that for rotates and save it specifically for these mid-game rotates. It allows them to rotate early, get priority positions, and then farm the Storm Surge or whatever else they need at the moment. Using these vehicles is going to be super key, especially as the Spider-Mans start to die down or even get removed from the game. One other key piece to their mid-game is being preventative. Now this clip may not seem like much, but it's actually a pretty strong point that some players would have failed to make. First, we're going to see Bugha move the car. That's to make sure if it explodes, it's not going to grief their game and get them lobby focused. Then, instead of just simply sitting there holding builds, they're going to place down one of their armored walls to stop the spray from coming through and once again prevent them from getting lobby focused. As we move into endgame, just remember it's these little things that make you from being an okay, a good, a great, and then the best player. All of these little things will build up to make sure that you are the best at every phase in the game. And when it comes to endgame, we see Bugha and Mero literally act as one player. I'm not kidding, this is one of the craziest duos that I've seen as far as just playing as a single unit. It's only their first couple weeks playing together as a duo, but we know they've played trios together and they know how one another play. Over time, the chemistry will get even better and these two will be an unstoppable force. Now I want you guys to pay attention to this 5th zone rotate. They could have easily just played the side of the mountain or just simply got into zone. Instead of just doing either of those options, they're going to go ahead and play basically high ground. There isn't a holding position on height, so they go all the way up, and the reason they do this is to get vision. They don't have any pads, they don't have Spider-Man, so that they need the vision in order to understand what the rotate's going to look like or to recycle a pad. This is a really smart play, and we don't see players doing this because of these bad traits they've learned from using Spider-Man and launch pads. Playing up on this high position gives you vision of the entire zone and lets you visualize a rotate before you're forced to make it. Moving zone begins and both players hop in the cone. This is to identify where any potential launch pads would be, see your potential rotate, or look for players up in the air to get free eliminations. Now they're going to wind up going for the tags on players, and it doesn't wind up getting them any eliminations, but one, it is storm surge damage, and two, you never know when a player up in the air is going to be 1 HP. It's worth taking the shots, and they have the time and the understanding of what the zone looks like in order to rotate late. The rotate begins and Bugha has picked his path. Once again, they're going to stay up on a pretty high level to avoid all the congestion, the chaos going on down below. This again is a great play because of the Spider-Man. A lot of players are just launching or slinging themselves to the front side, low side, so it's super congested and chaos down below. We see them play this second height, mid ground, almost height position, and then Bugha puts himself underneath high ground to stop them from being able to continue to shoot at them. This next rotate caused me to stop and rewatch this multiple times just because of how freaking cool this is. This is literally a 2-man tarp, shoulder to shoulder, tarping at the same time. I'm not sure I've seen this, or at least I haven't seen it as effective as what goes on right here. Now, just like I went back and watched this, I'm going to show this to you guys from drone free just to see as Mero is building the back, as Bugha is going for the front of the tarp, and both players working in one single motion to build a beautiful tarp to next zone. Run out of materials, the duo is forced to make a play onto the low ground. Now, as they go down, they're doing so together, guns blazing, taking shots, and just continuing to help one another play. Once they realize that's not exactly the play or the spot they want to be, they go back up, find some space, and Mero gets a nice pick right here as the two players collide and get a free elimination as they sandwich a player that accidentally gets in between them. That little refresh gives them just enough, and then we see Bugha go ahead and place all of these armored walls to give him time to heal. Mero's right here to help him heal for the white HPs while he's getting his minis back on so he can get up to about 50 shield. It is perfectly played and great teamwork once again while we see zone pull back, and then the duo is going to sit and wait in their spot and find themselves some more space and use the armored walls once again. They're playing patiently, yet understanding they have to make plays at the same time, and it is time to go change some layers, and they do navigate this mid ground really, really well. One of the hardest things to do during endgame is navigating without any materials or anything left to your name. Now we see what these guys do, and they identify a solo, jump on him, get the refresh that's necessary, and then immediately build themselves some space. This is what Bugha is so good at because he's constantly giving his teammate some space to work with and the ability to play within his own builds. Now, ultimately, you're always going to run out of materials at a point, so you gotta go for refresh after refresh. This is what makes this team so good, is the ability to combine the refresh with some team play and building space to allow yourself to get the refresh. Mero and Bugha complement each other so well, and it has been a super success, at least early on. We'll see if they continue to do this, but I would imagine they only get better as they continue to get more on the same page. Ultimately, they run out of materials and are forced to drop down, but thanks to replay lag, we don't really know what happened. I mean, they are just super shambles with no materials looking to make a play while everyone else is trying to do the same thing. Ultimately, they're not able to win this match, but I think every single piece is a great example of how good this duo is. And if it had to be put into like one sentence, it is that they're just playing with their eyes locked in the same place. Neither one is looking around trying to make hero or solo plays. They're both playing together constantly every single phase of the game and every single minute. That is what's making them so successful, and that is what I believe is needed within duos in order to be successful. If you're going to try and play as a solo in duos, you're going to constantly fail because there's just two players versus your one. Now the best players understand that, Mero and Bugha being one of them, and they have shown us exactly how it works and why it works well. Want to thank you guys for watching. My name's Somebody's Gun. I appreciate you. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.